If I look dead tired, it's because I'm not normally filming this late. And if I do, I don't normally film this late after an 8-hour shift. So, but I need to get this done because I have a work Christmas due when I normally edit, so I need to shimmy things slightly forward. And oh boy, I'm gonna try not to fall asleep. Wake up. Hi, Shal. Oh dear. I'm gonna be manic now. And hello to all you other wonderful weirdos watching. Yep, I'm definitely gonna be manic. Oh boy, when I'm tired, I'm either drowsy or manic. I think I'm clicking over into manic now. Oh, fun. We have the penultimate, I think, penultimate episode of Short Story Saturday of 2025. It is the second of last. I'm sure comments will let me know if I was on the money with the word penultimate or not. I do not know. But we have one for the road, and we start off in a bar with two of our characters. We're following three people throughout this. Yes, three people. And then, so we start off with the owner of the bar, Tukey, not a fool of a Took, but very wise actually. He knows he's the most sensible person here. And Booth, who is good friends with Tukey over many years. He basically sets the tone of Tukey ran out with a beer for the guy running the plough real quick in the snowstorm that's happening, which is quite nice. And Booth watches as this guy in a very fancy coat stumble in, and he's basically dealing with frostbite, that he's been out there for too long. So we now have our third character in the bar, and he's basically said that he's been walking for 15 minutes or for 6 miles. I think 6 miles. But yes, he's been walking for 6 miles in this blizzard. So yeah, he passes out. Tukey gives him a shot of brandy, which immediately revives him. Even my battery died. Wow. I mustn't be the only one who's tired. Anywho, so Lumley, I think his name is, begins with an L. He is just passing through with his wife and daughter, who he said to these people he's just met, he made sure that they stayed in the car. He said, don't leave the car. But there's only so much time they have, because he's only got a bit of time before the engine cuts out from providing heat for them. Because even if they're like not going anywhere, they need that heater, and if that heater cuts out. However, Booth and Tukey are quite cautious, and rightfully so, because they find out, because they know what 6 miles. Did he say north or south? He said in the direction 6 miles, and oh boy, we've come full circle. We have come full circle, because the guy turned off this road, and the road he turned into hadn't been ploughed, and therefore he kind of just like crashed into a snowdrift. And where he was, because he was on his way through to get somewhere else, but one of the stopping places and the place where he like crashed was Jerusalem's lot, of all places to crash. And things have not been going well since the first story. Yeah, the first story, I'm pretty sure it was like, letters from 1789, 1850. Basically, 1850. Dear Bones. Absolutely brilliant to find out that Jerusalem's Lot kind of burnt down like a few years ago from this current story, from the current present day, and it kind of started because people were going missing. New people came in because of all of the low prices, and naturally. And then either they moved out or went missing themselves, and oh boy. Yeah. So we have this amazing little town from hell, and Booth has only ever heard the word vampire the once. From the guy, like, shortening Jerusalem's Lot into Salem's Lot, which I'm pretty sure is sparked the book Salem's Lot. And I'm just like, not only do I need to read, what was it? The Stand. Not only do I need to read The Stand, but I also have to read Salem's Lot immediately after this, because oh my god, it's either that I'm going to have quite a reading list if there's more stories that got sparked from this. I'm sure there is, but yeah, two that I'm aware of, because even though I know I was aware of Salem's Lot when I first read Jerusalem's Lot, I wasn't too interested, but after this one, I don't know if it's going to be leading up to it burning down or it being rebuilt. They decide to go on the rescue mission, or at least tentatively, very, very tentatively, because they only just bring up the plow. The Tukey's got a 4-wheel drive car that they can use to get Lumley to his wife and child after they warmed him up, after they've like got him back on his feet. And he's just like, you could have mentioned this sooner. We've been like dawdling in here for like 10 to 20 minutes now. They have to explain to this person who has no idea of the local, like, don't go here customs, that it's not a good idea. It's just not a good idea. Wow, I've definitely woken up by this. On the way, we get a few paragraphs of Booth discussing, like, the cold. It's not the snow that is going to cause all his problems. It's the cold wind chill that will steal your heat. And we get that when they're warming Lumley up and on the way on the rescue mission. So, and they only can see so far ahead. I love the joke, because Lumley is just like, can you go any faster? And Booth is just like, you're complaining an awful lot for somebody who could end up walking. Either I have such a dark humour, or it just works so well. But either way, it's just like, yeah, you don't want to go any faster in that weather. It is not possible. There's also that empathy there, that they do understand where he's coming from. He's just really worried about his family. He's just really wanting to get there and get there now, just because you are in this panic of losing them. So Tukey has said to him, as they're driving, so long as they are in the car, we will gladly take them. But if they are not, we are turning around and getting straight back into town and talking to the sheriff. They get to the car and Lumley sprints forward and they're not in the car. And Lumley turns angrily to the two blokes and says, what aren't you telling me? Why weren't what do you know? What is wrong with this town? That's when Booth says, the town is full of vampires. We can't stay here now. We have to leave. And it's just like Lumley sees that his daughter's coat, Francie, she left her coat in the back seat. There's a Barbie doll strewn on the passenger floor, and yeah, it's where we get the age is that she's 7 years old, and we just fear the worst. And knowing what we know, it's gonna be a creepy vampire. I mean, creepy ghost girl is one thing, but creepy vampire girl is another. Lumley sees tracks, one adult size, one smaller, and they would have missed it 5 minutes later, and he goes charging after them. They just have to follow and try and pull him back. The arthritis kind of gets to Booth to the point where he runs into Tookie, who is like clutching his chest with his head down. He's got heart issues, because I think earlier on it says that Booth is in his 70s, so they're roughly the similar age. On their way, trying to plough through the snow just to keep up with Lumley. He's far ahead at that point. They see, oh God, what was her name? Janie. I will never remember names in these short stories. Ugh, I could have, chalked it up towards the end of the day, but I'm just like, nah, I've never remembered people's names. I've always had to look them up. Janie appears and looking very ethereal in her poncho, her green poncho, looking dazzling as she glides into view, and the poncho waving in the wind, looking pristine. And this is so surreal and quite horrifying in that, because we are dealing with a vampire who is like hypnotically drawing you in, and that's exactly what happens to Lumley, who immediately walks right up to her, grateful that she's alive. Somewhat, but... And then we get quite a horrific scene where Booth says that he will forever hear the cry of a small boy coming from a grown man for many years after. Oh, because she, even before she curls her arms around him and lunges her head at him, because they do see the teeth, every single one's pointy. We've got some scary vampires. Yes! I love some scary vampires. Booth and Tookie both agree it's too late. Leg it. We gotta leg it. And they struggle. Tookie, his heart issues really get to him, and Booth has to start carrying him to the car, and he gets him into the passenger side just as Booth runs round to the driver's side door. The little girl shows up. The little girl shows up. The little monster, should I say. So the little 7-year-old has decided to appear, and Booth is once again hypnotized. I believe he said he nearly swooned because of just her appearance, even though she's not even standing in snow but on top of snow, like an elf. She's basically saying, "Excuse me, sir, can you help me find my mummy?" Kind of like an empty child. But honestly, I'd take an empty child over this, because oh boy, you cannot escape the hypnotic and you just get drawn in. Booth kind of couldn't really help but get drawn in. There's no logic to it. You just get sucked into the gaze, and even though he fully recognizes that he's wanting to pick her up so that if she can give him a kiss and then go find the mother. Oh boy, yeah, he can feel her hands on his throat, and then something flies out of the car, and she just vanishes into, like, she just vanishes. There's no trace of her. He pulls himself together, picks up the Bible that was thrown at her. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me unless it's a dictionary, or in Vampire's case, it's a Bible. I will always find that funny. Don't know why, just do. Yeah, they get away, and the sheriff the next day finds the car, but they don't say anything. There's no point. Not anymore. And this story is being told as flashback. Booth is telling his story. Tookie had died a few years before, and Booth is very, very old now. People still come and go. People like backpackers and travelers, they just like pass through. They stop at Jerusalem's Lot. Campers go missing. Yeah, it's still going on. The sheriff finds a tent or a backpack or two, even a novel left behind. People keep going missing. The end note is just like, the 7-year-old girl, even after all this time, is still 7 years old and is waiting for somebody to give her a goodnight kiss. Yikes. Certainly calls into question kissing vampires. Don't freaking do that. I never got the trend. I never understood it. That was this week's short story. I definitely woke up halfway through the opening there. Next week, the last story, and the last short story Saturday of 2025. Bye, Shell.
And bye to all you other wonderful weirdos watching.
I really wonder what Stephen King thought of the trend that happened with kissing vampires, and I can only imagine he was pointing at his own short story going, yeah, that's not a good idea, lasses, that's not a good idea. I mean, I'm going to bed. I need to sleep. I need to get my sanity back, or what's left of it. Not that there was anything there to begin with, but bye.